Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I'm Arif and I welcome you all to the next session of the lecture series on Internet Working with Linux. If you have not seen the previous video regarding overview of TCPIP stack, I strongly recommend that you should first view that video and then fall back to this session. In this session, we are going to learn to set up our lab environment that we will be working on in our future sessions. I will be using Oracle VirtualBox for setting up of the virtual machines. You can use any other virtual machine manager like VMware or maybe someone else. If any one of you do not know how to create virtual machines and install different operating systems using Oracle VirtualBox, please view my lecture 1 of the course Operating System with Linux, and that is available on my YouTube channel as well as on my website at arifbhat.me. Okay, let's start playing. Well, you can see over here on my host OS, Macintosh, I have over 10 virtual machines having different operating systems running inside this VirtualBox. For this course, we will be using 4 machines, Ubuntu server, on which we will be installing, configuring and using different servers like SSH, FTP, HTTP. As client, I will be using Kali Linux. You can use Ubuntu, CentOS or maybe Red Hat. To get a flavor of Microsoft platform, I will be using Windows XP and Windows 10 as two extremes. Okay, so over here, this is the machine on which my Ubuntu server is running. Let me clear screen. Over here we have our Kali Linux. Let me clear. And over here we have our Microsoft Windows XP machine. Dear students, once you have created these machines and installed the operating systems of your choice, the next step is making a network of these machines, or making these machines part of an existing network. For this, on the VirtualBox Manager, select the machine and over here select network. You can see you have the option to add up to 4 different network cards with each machine. Right now these 3 adapter options are disabled because for that we need to stop the machine first, and right now the Ubuntu server is running. By default, one network card is enabled, and from this drop down you can select the type of the adapter. There are different options like NAT network, bridge adapter, internal network, host only adapter, and the best to choose is the bridge adapter. And you can see on all the machines I have already selected the bridged adapter. There are a lot of advantages of using bridged adapter as a new user. If you use bridged adapter, every machine will have its own unique IP address, which in my case is automatically assigned by the PTCL broadband router to which my host OS, that is Macintosh, is connected. In your case, it may be the DHCP server of the university network. Let us check on my Kali machine the details of the TCPIP parameters by using the command ipconfig. Rather, on Linux we use ifconfig. ipconfig is the one that is used on Windows. Ifconfig is a command that is used to configure network interfaces. If no arguments are given, then it displays the status of the currently active interfaces. So right now I have 2 interfaces available, that is ETH0 and on ETH0 you can see the IP address is 192.168.101. We have the net mask, we have the broadcast address and the INET6 address, and of course here is the 48-bit MAC address. Similarly, we have the loopback address, which is 127.0.0.1. Let me run the same command over Ubuntu server. Remember, you either have to be root for this or you have to be in the sudoers file if you want to run this command. So the IP address of my Ubuntu server is 192.168.1.100. IP address of Kali machine is 192.168.101. And in case of my Windows machine, the IP address is 192.168.1.102. Okay, so let me use ping, the packet internet gropper, a command to send ICMP echo request to network host for checking the connectivity. While on the Windows machine, let me ping the server 192.168.1.100. I'm successfully pinging it. Let me ping the Kali machine 192.168.1.101. I'm connected with that. On the Kali machine, let me ping 192.168.1.102, which is IP of the Windows machine, and we are connected. Well, gentlemen, the other advantage of using bridged adapter is that you can access all the other external machines on the same local area network. For example, let me ping another machine on this network having an IP address of 192.168.1.99. So I'm pinging it. So you can ping your mobile phones which are on the same local area network on any other machines over there. Similarly, if there is a web server running on one of our virtual machines, for example, suppose there is a web server which is running on our Ubuntu server, I can access the web pages of that web server not only from the Kali Linux and the Windows XP, but also from all the other machines which are on the same local area network, for example, from my iPhone. Another advantage of using the bridged adapter is that the virtual machine can access the internet. So let me do ping google.com. So if I ping google.com, I should be able to access google.com. Okay, let me do it again. Ping google.com. Well, it is accessible. Fine. So how this is possible? This is possible because of service that is known as the gateway. Let me use a command route -n. Route -n is a command that is used to see the IP address of the gateway computer of the local area network on which I am running my Kali Linux. Over here you can see the gateway address is 192.168.101, 1.1, which is the IP of my broadband router. On the Windows machine, if you want to see this, just give the command ipconfig. Remember, the command for Windows is ipconfig, while for Linux machine it is ifconfig, and give the /all option. So you see more information over here, and along with the IP address you can see the default gateway. Yes, this is the default gateway, 192.168.1.1. Last but not the least, the outside world, that is any machine that is not in the same local area network, that cannot access these virtual machines as they are having private IP addresses. However, there is a twist about which we will talk in some future session. Right now, so students, the question is how the TCPIP configuration parameters like the IP addresses, broadcast addresses, the subnet mask, the IP of the gateway, all these information have been assigned to all these machines automatically. The answer is they're using the DHCP protocol. There is a DHCP service that is running on my PTCL broadband router, and what is this DHCP service. We will talk about this in our future session. Today we will restrict ourselves to statically assigning the IP addresses to our machines. Okay, so right now you can see my Kali machine is having all these TCPIP configurations for ETH0. Let me delete them by using the command IP res flush for ETH0. Now if I do if config, you can see for ETH0 you don't have the information like IP address, broadcast address, subnet mask, etc. Let me use route -n. You can see there is no information about the gateway as well right now. So let me first assign the IP address and the net mask to my Kali machine. If config ETH0, the interface 192.168.1. Let me assign 1.200 address to this, and the net mask of 255.255.255.0, and let me bring it up. And now if I do if config, you can see I have been assigned these information. Let me assign the gateway as well using the route add command. Default gateway to 192.168.1.1. I keep the default gateway, the IP address of my router, so that I should be able to access the internet. Now let me check out by pinging 192.168.1.1. Yes, I am successful in pinging it. Similarly, gentlemen, you can assign IP address to your Ubuntu server as well. But if you restart your machine, these settings will be lost. To make them permanent, we need to add these parameters in a configuration file. Let me repeat it for that configuration file as well. And the configuration file is @c network interfaces. So this is the file. Right now, if you can see, for the ETH0 interface, the IP settings are DHCP. Let me open it in Vim. @c network interfaces file of my Kali Linux, and let me change this to static. Excuse me. And after this, I need to add all those parameters which I wish to add. The address to, let's suppose 192.168. Let me assign it the same address, and mask of 255.255.255.0, and the gateway of 192.168.1.1. So let me save and exit. Now if you want your system to read these settings, you need to do if up ETH0. So it is already up. Let me if down ETH0, and then let me if up ETH0. So it will read that file and assign the required parameters to this machine. So if you do something like this, whatever TCPIP parameters you have written in that @c network interfaces file, you can see them over here. If I do ping, let's suppose 192.168.1.1, you can see I can successfully ping it. Okay. So, similarly, you can do the static IP assignment for the Ubuntu server as well. Let me repeat this for the Windows machine as well. For this, you need to go to the start, click the start button, Then you need to go to the control panel. The control panel, you have to go to the network connections. Over here, the local area connection, you need to right click it and then go to properties, and inside the properties select internet protocol TCPIP, the properties of those, and over here you can select this option, use the following IP address. Okay, 192.168.1.102. so this is the IP address which I want to use, and 192.168.1.1, this is the default gateway that I want to use. Similarly, you can assign the DNS server as well over here. The DNS server, we all know that this is the mapping server, which will map your application layer addresses to IP addresses. In case of Linux, you can add this entry in @cresolve.com file. Let me do OK. Let me close. And let me close this. And now if you do ipconfig, so you get those parameters which you have mentioned in that file. Okay, so before I close, let me do one more thing. I can ping 192.168.1.100 my Ubuntu server while sitting on the Kali machine. I can access 101, that is 1.101. This is the address which has not been assigned to anything. I think I have done something wrong in etc network interfaces file. So 192.168, you see I have given a wrong address over here. 192.168.1.101. This is the address that's what I want to give now. Let me come back to the same old settings. So ping 192.168.1.101. So okay, so for my system to read it, if down ETH0 and if up ETH0, I want it to read the settings again. And now if I do if config, I can see I have still the 200 address, vim etc network interfaces 192.168.1.101, and the gateway is this. If down ETH0, if up ETH0, and let me do, okay, come on, do it. It is a small file, you should be able to read it quickly. But still it is using this address 192.168.1.200 because probably we have assigned this address on this session, so that session takes the preference. So let me delete it, and let me delete all the addresses for this IP address flush ETH0. And now let me do if down ETH0, if up ETH0, and this time it should be working. If config. Okay, so now it is 192.168.1.101. So remember, gentlemen, it is fun. Whenever something happens, you need to know why it is not happening the way you are expecting it, and you will find a way out. So let me go back and do it again. I can ping 192.168.1.100, which is the IP of my Ubuntu server. Let me ping 101, which is the IP of my Kali machine. And over here right now, the IP of my XP machine is 102. So I can ping 192.168.1.102. Well, fine. So now, can I ping them with the host names? Can I ping Ubuntu server? No. Can I ping WinXP? No. Okay, so if you want that, you need to access your machines with the names. Either the DNS server comes into play, or there is a local database file on all Linux machines that is excuse me, that is cat etc host. This is a machine which contains the IP and the name mappings. Let me add the entries over here. On my Kali machine, let me say that 192.168.1.100 is the name of the machine, Ubuntu Ubuntu server, and 192.168.1.101 is the name of my Kali, and 192.168.1.102 is the name of WinXP. Let me save and exit, and let me ping WinXP now. So I'm pinging. Let me ping Ubuntu server. I'm pinging it. Let me ping Kali. I'm pinging it. You can similarly add these names in the Ubuntu server machine as well in the etc host file. On the Windows machine, if I ping Kali, you see I cannot access Kali machine using the name. However, I can ping it using 192.168.10101. Yes. So what is that file in which I need to put the entries over here? You need to open your computer. In the computer, you have to go to your Windows folder, and inside the Windows folder we have the System32 folder, and inside the System32 we have the drivers folder, and inside the drivers we have the etc, and etc we have again file. So this is the path: C:, Windows System32 drivers etc and the host file. Let me open it using Notepad. Okay, so this is the file which we want to add some information over here. 192.168.1.100. This is the name of our Ubuntu server. And 192.168.1.101. This is the name of our Kali. And 192.168.1.102. This is the name of our WinXP. Let me save and exit and come back to over here, and let me ping let me ping myself first. WinXP, successful. Let me ping Kali. So if I'm pinging Kali, it is again successful. Let me ping Ubuntu server. It's again successful. Okay, so that was real fun. Right, students, we are done. We are done with our second session for the subject of internet networking with Linux. Today we have learned how to build a lab environment with 3 machines: a Ubuntu server machine, a Kali machine, and a Windows XP machine. We have learned to assign IP addresses and other required TCPIP parameters to these machines statically on the shell using a command, as well as by writing them in a configuration file permanently. In the next session, we will see how we can assign the same parameters to these machines via the DHCP server. I hope this was all informative for you. If you have liked it, please subscribe my YouTube channel and share it with your friends. See you in the next session. Allah Hafiz and happy learning.